Like and subscribe if you enjoy what we're talking about here on the official. We're going to move right along. I will introduce us to Andrew Marsh. He is the wide receiver 8 on the On3 composite. He's 55 overall, so working our way down to the wide receivers here. He's about 6'1", 175, so kind of a pretty good build, not overly huge, but definitely big enough. He goes to Katy Jordan in Texas, 261st ranked team in Texas, so not one of the powerhouse teams. But he is uncommitted, kind of being chased by your old Big 12 schools, Oklahoma, Texas. USC is also in the mix. So kind of some big time offers and things like that. When you watch his tape, he's not terribly athletically impressive. He does have a few of plays that like you just saw right there where he does break off a route, get separation, with a nice cut, kind of a little out to the sideline or something like that. And then, of course, on that particular clip, he broke some tackles and took it to the house. But a 65th percentile athlete, documented 4.56 and 20.5 max MPH, which certainly gets you over thresholds, but on field just doesn't really look sudden, doesn't really look hyper athletic. And to me, not like an exceptional route runner like we've talked about guys like Jamie French. So it's a little bit of kind of good at stuff, not great at anything, but playing Texas football and, putting up a lot of yards, 65, 11, 58, and 15 in 11 games last year. Hits all your market share thresholds that you'd want. He'll be 18 on National Signing Day, so that's good, 18 flat. So that's not bad. 17 is even better, but right at 18 years old, definitely not on the old end for his class. And as a bigger guy, he plays like a big receiver, but not necessarily huge. Like I said, about 6 feet, 175. But his game is kind of more of that bully ball, in my opinion, or kind of wants to be that kind of receiver. And that's concerning to me because he's really not that physically gifted in that way. But that's kind of his game because he's not going to wow you with separation with his route running. So I kind of wonder if he's a little bit of a tweener prospect for me. Like I watched the tape, I just was like, oh, he's good, he's okay. But especially when he breaks away and he's in the open field, he just doesn't appear to me to have that next gear like a lot of the guys we talk about on this show have. Kind of a lukewarm take. I'll throw it to David. What do you think of Andrew Marsh? Am I being too critical?
I don't think so. I kind of liked him more in the beginning when I first watched him, and I've cooled on him a little bit since. I watched some camp stuff from him, and just seeing him like more up close, I just felt like I thought he was like a little bit like high-waisted, and it kind of affects his fluidity a little bit on some of his breaks. It seemed like he was coming out of his breaks pretty high, and he just wasn't really exploding out of them like I like to see. So I just wonder, how well he'll be able to separate. He just doesn't strike me as a guy that will demand playing time as like a freshman or, I don't know. So but I do think like he's a really good contested guy. Like he kind of gave me like Jalen Hale vibes a little bit, I guess. Like he's really like he's sort of a mid-sized guy, but he's like, yeah, like you said, he plays big. Like he'll go up and get it. Really good ball skills, and you see that a lot in the camp stuff as well. Willing blocker, stuff like that. I just didn't know. I don't know if I saw enough specialness to like. We want guys that are going to play right away. So. I don't know if I really see that. I think he's a guy that he kind of like slowly progresses through college and then can be really good as like as more of like a junior senior type guy, and then maybe gets draft capital from there. But that's kind of like how I'm seeing him right now.
Yeah, or maybe as a junior at Miami of Ohio or something, like really puts on a show. Sorry, that's harsh. Matt, what do you think of Andrew Marsh?
But it sounds like I'm probably a little bit higher than you guys, although I'm not thrilled by any means. He does have a very good production profile, at least, and that's playing with Last year, 3 other ranked wide receivers, one in Zechariah Samples, who we all, or at least Dave and I, liked a very good bit, now Arizona State wide receiver. Yeah, I think he's really well-rounded, but he's not exceptionally great at anything other than, he's pretty good at jump balls. Kind of an average athlete too. Kind of refined, but not really. He has some good releases. Breaks are kind of, here and there. Sometimes you can hit him with a nice good one, but other times you like really hard cuts on some things, and he just doesn't transition well out of it, I don't think. And kind of alluding to what David said, landing spot here, Oklahoma, Texas, USC. It's hard for me to see him really standing out in those, pretty crowded wide receiver rooms with good talent that will come in every year. So that's definitely hard for me because, we obviously care a good bit about the CFF side of things here. And he's not exactly this player, gleaming with the super high upside. So I think he's a good player, but I don't know if he's a very good fantasy asset.
All right, that's fair enough. Yeah, a little more positive than what David and I were saying, but I think ultimately, Andrew Marsh might be I think we're going to find more than 7 receivers that we like better than him by the end of the day. And, maybe a guy that the services are going to like a little bit better. And I think the way, the services just seem to love these big guys who play a little bigger, who do the jump balls, physically impressive players. And, I feel like we are getting away from those guys, as we talk about a lot. And I just don't know why the services just keep pumping these guys up to points where I'm just like, I don't see the upside.